start with the hyperbolic problems where we are dealing with one of the classification of the partial differential equation, that is the hyperbolic problems of the hyperbolic equation. We have said that it is when it is the under root term of b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, so that is going to be resultant in two real two real and the distinct curves we are going to obtain in the hyperbolic problems. Link up that particular point of hyperbolic problems in real phenomena, or how do we apply the concepts of the hyperbolic problems is, let us take one, let us take a domain here in this one. So I have taken a simple xy plane here on screen. If you see, so this I have taken a simple xy plane on this one, and on this xy plane, so this is my xy plane I have taken in this one. So on this xy plane, I have taken some points on it. So in order to best describe about this hyperbolic problems we are going to deal with, so that is hyperbolic equations. So exactly it is what we are going to deal with is a hyperbolic equations we are interested to deal in this one. So I have just taken a xy plane. So that is a two-dimensional plane I have considered here in this one. On this two-dimensional plane, have taken one point, have taken a point P, where from the point P, if you notice from the point P, so for example, if you are standing on this point P, so if you are standing on this point P, so if you see, so one side it is left and other side it is right. So if you are standing exactly on this point P and heading towards this direction and heading towards the positive x direction, so you can see one line is going in the x direction, one line is going in the upward direction and another line is going in the downward direction. From where the characteristic lines are exhibiting, it is defining from the, if it is defining the points where the characteristic lines are exhibiting, or the points which are existing on this one. So that is at the point P. So at the point P, we are saying that two lines have come out from this at the point, from the point P. Two characteristic lines are releasing out from this particular point P. Now, what exactly these characteristic lines are? So these characteristic lines are talking about the behavior of that particular fluid. So that means when the behavior of that particular fluid is being concerned from a point P, it is one direction, it is upwards, another direction is downwards, another direction it is in the downward direction. And now, what exactly this point specifications in this one? What exactly this point is actually want to say with us, or what is the interest of you're talking about the fluid behavior? When you're talking about the fluid behavior in this one, so from the point P, if you are if you are moving your point P, so here this region is going to get disturbed. If your point P is shifting, so that means my region, this region is going to get influenced. So then that region is called as a region of influence. If this complete flow variables are dependent on the point P, if the complete flow variables are dependent on the point P, and then that equation, that point is known as that from that region it is called as a region of influence, by the point P, that the region influenced by this particular point P. So that means if my P point is varying in space coordinates, or if my if the P point variables are varying, so then my characteristic lines may also vary from it. My characteristic lines also may vary accordingly. So hold this region and change. So that means I have to hold at the point P. So that is called as a region of influence. This is called as a region of influence. So this is complete shaded region is called region of influence. Now the question comes, so if it is dependent on the point P, it is completely dependent on the point P, how the region of it. So if I am moving the point P, definitely this is going to be changed. So what we have initially applied is, we have applied from the point P, we have drawn the characteristic lines. So one left running characteristic and one right running characteristics I have drawn it from the point P. Right. So let us see. This is the where, based upon the point P, region 1 is getting influenced on it. Region 1 is getting influenced on this one. Now, when we are talking about the point P behind, so that means from the point P till now we have moved in the positive x direction. From the point P, let us move in the negative x direction. When we are moving in the negative x direction from the point P, for example, if the point P is at the, so if you let us, before discussing about this negative x direction, let us consider if my point P is exactly on the vertical plane, where 0 comma 0, let us state that this is 0 comma 0, and here on this plane, here if you are taking that x, is no distance moved on the x, only y distance it has moved, so that is y comma 0, that the point is y comma 0. That means at this point C, I have only height available, but there is no distance available for this point C. And from this point, if my point is at exactly on the origin, but it has been shifted in the vertical direction, if it is shifted in the vertical direction, so then also the region is being influenced by the point C. That is called also a region of influence. That is called as a region of influence, right? So that means here the point C or the point C is changing the flow phenomena, which is rising from this particular point C or point P. So that means this region, this complete region is dependent on the point P, and this complete region, region 2, is completely dependent on the point C. Now let us go back to this one. So what exactly happened when I'm moving behind this point P, when I'm moving in the negative x direction of the point P? So that when I'm moving in this direction, see, for that one, initially what we have taken is initial data along the xy axis upon the P, which depends upon this A and B. Actually, if you see, notice again here, so if your initial data is dependent on this particular, so initial data along the y-axis upon which P depends, so that is where initially the A and B points I know. Initially I know the A and B points. From the A and B points have got traced this particular point P. So that means from the initial point of A and B, so where A and B are the initial boundary value problem, so that is IBVP. So whatever the initial conditions you are setting at the point A and B, that is going to be resultant in this domain of dependence. That is going to be the domain of dependence. So that means based upon your A and B values, this domain is dependent how to behave in this particular case, and the P point is influencing the region outside this one, and here this is dependent on the points of A and B. This is dependent on the point A and B, or it is in the Y plane where you are giving the inputs to it. It is on the Y plane where you are giving the inputs to this one, where you are giving the inputs at this one. Okay, where you are giving the inputs to this one. So that is giving the inputs here in this one. So that is dependent on the Y plane where you are dealing with. So this is completely dependent on the AB point where it is influenced from the Y direction, and point P is where you are talking about this region where it is influenced by the point P. So that means here one region where it is dependent on the A and B, and other region where it is influenced by the point P. So that means if I am varying my A and B conditions, points or the inflow conditions at the A and B, which is coming along the Y direction, if I influence on this fluid flow variation, then definitely that is going to change my P influence. And when my point P is being influenced, my region of influence is going to change accordingly, right? So one is domain of dependence, another one is region of influence. One it is domain of dependence, the other one is the region of influence. And why we are calling it as a hyperbolic problem? Is here in this particular case, I have two real and distinct points. Where the characteristic behavior is running, in the two real and the distinct. So that is one in the opposite side, one and the other in the opposite time. So that is the reason it is called as a hyperbolic flow problem. So hyperbolic equations, when you are adopting it, so in that case we have two real and the distinct points are available in that one. So that is the reason we have considered here in this the hyperbolic problem, where the domain of dependence and the region of influence based upon a point P, and domain of dependence is dependent upon the point A and B. Again, the point A and B depends upon the P value based upon your approach. So which depends upon the A and B. So A and B influences, A and B is dependent on the domain of dependence, but the P is influencing that region of influence, right? So the values, actually what we are giving the initial conditions, if you are having this type of problem, so then it will be coming under the hyperbolic conditions. Then it is coming under steady inviscid supersonic flow problem, where the equations resulting is in the hyperbolic equation. So for that one, what we have considered is, I have considered an aerofoil with a slide. I've considered an aerofoil, and where it is placed on the xy axis, this aerofoil has been placed on the xy axis with a free stream velocity of v infinity. The case what we have considered is, I have considered an aerofoil, right? And where the shock waves, are attached to the body, right? And here first initial point you have to make clear that when we have considered that when I've considered the initial geometry in such a way that my angle of attacks are very low, my angle of attack considered on this airfoil is very low. This is what the initial consideration is, very low, and there is a shock generated on the airfoil. There's a shock generated on the airfoil, and that shock wave, that is not an exactly an oblique shock. So it is having a shock of bow shock wave is being generated on the body. Bow shock wave is being generated on the body, and is that, and third condition is that the shock is attached to the body. The shock is attached to the body. So first condition, we have taken an airfoil not with a very high angle of attack, very low angle of attack, so that the shock should not be detached from the body. Second condition is that the shock is attached to the body. The shock is attached to the body. And third condition is that it is an oblique shock wave available on the airfoil section. It is an oblique shock available on the airfoil section. So third, these are the three conditions initially. These are the three conditions we have taken it as airfoil with a medium angle of attack and with a shock wave attached to the body. And third condition, we have a bow shock wave available on this particular body, and this one, and the bow shock wave is attached to it, and the bow shock wave is attached to the body. Okay. Bow shock wave. What is the approach we have made initially is we have stated that we are going to discuss about the steady. We are going to discuss about the case where it is related with steady, inviscid, and supersonic flow problem. Steady, inviscid, and supersonic flow problem we are going to and the supersonic flow problem we are going to discuss here in this one. In the steady, inviscid, supersonic flow problem, when we are discussing about this problem, so which we have stated that this is what the geometry. Now our interest is to how this particular flow behavior is available on this particular body, and as we have already stated that it is going to be resultant in the hyperbolic equation. Now if somebody puts a question that, sir, if you are saying that obeyed, if the condition is not obeyed, that the shock is attached to the body, my geometry has varied some angles, or the angle of attack is slightly increased, so there is a shock wave detached from the body. If the shock wave detaches from the body, your hyperbolic equation will not be valid in that case, and the elliptical equations will come into the problem, or elliptical equations problem. And in that case the problem may not be properly addressed in the hyperbolic cases, and you will be having a resultant with the pockets developed on this in this particular CFD domain. Pockets will be developed in the CFD domain. So when your shock is getting detached from the body, when the shock wave gets detached from the body, there will be a result in these pockets will result in the elliptical equations. These pockets will result in the elliptical equation, and CFD will bounce, or it will result with an hit with an errors in that one, or in some cases completely the resultant solution may hit with an error in that. So that means completely we have initially, while choosing the problem, we have taken a problem in such a way that where the shock is attached to the body, and it is not making a higher angle of attack, and within this zone, so that it is forming a bow shock wave on it. Now how it is being related to the hypersonic problem, let us consider about that one and discuss what exactly the hyperbolic problems we are going to discuss about on this one. So as far as attack is being concerned, as far as this airfoil and the angle of attack is being concerned, right? So here we see that so on this airfoil, so we have named some regions. The region which is AB, and another regions we have mentioned it on on this one. So that regions we are calling it as, so that one region we are calling it as AB, and other regions we have called it as, so where the AB is available, where AB region is starting just in front of the body or ahead of the body, that is an airfoil with a shock wave, bow shock wave available on it. And another one we have, so that it is, there are the other points we have defined on the body, so which is available on the body itself. So that points we have named it as C, D, and E, and F. So these are the four. So that means first it is line 1, line 2 is this particular AB and CD, and line 3 is EF. So these are all the lines we have defined initially, yet we have not approached to the problem. I did not approach to the problem. I just defined the geometry with some shock wave available on it. Now this I want to approach with a hyperbolic case. And in hyperbolic case, why it can be only hyperbolic? That is what the question raised in that one. Why I am saying it is only hyperbolic is until and unless the shock is detaches from the body, the problem will be related to only hyperbolic case where the Mach number is greater than, as we have stated in the previous example, stating that Mach number is greater than 1. Mach number is greater than 1. The Mach number is greater than 1. The solution is going to be resultant in the equation is going to be a hyperbolic problem only. So to match up with that result of hyperbolic problem, what we have discussed in the previous sessions, in order to match the result with the hyperbolic problems or hyperbolic equations only, I have considered it as an attached shock wave attached to the body, that is being considered here in this one case. And that AB, CD and EF are being defined accordingly on this particular equation, or on this geometry. Now in order to approach to this problem, so how we can approach is, so as far as the shock waves are concerned, so in our previous sessions, we have seen that two approaches for the shock can be given. We can give it. So one, it is shock fitting approach. Another one is shock predicting approach, right? So one it is shock fitting approach, another one is predicting the shock approach, right? So whereas the shock fitting and shock prediction, okay, shock fitting and the shock prediction methods, these are all the two methods we have taken into consideration, whereas the shock prediction approach is being considered. So whereas in the domain, so that is shock fitting and shock capture methods, we have exactly named it in the previous session. So that is shock fitting and shock capture. So if you are writing it as capture or prediction, so we have taken it as in the previous sessions, the topic you can see. So that is shock fitting and the shock prediction approach, shock fitting, shock capture methods. Whereas in the shock fitting approach, so initially we know where is the shock available. We know the shock location. We are known with the shock location in the shock fitting approach. So that means where the shock will approach, we know the shock fitting approach. In the shock capture approach, we are unknown about where exactly the shock wave will occur. We are unknown in that case where the shock wave will occur. Right. So in this case, the shock wave, where it occurs, we know the exact location of it. In this case of capture or the prediction, so we are not sure where exactly the shock will occur. So when I'm approaching my initial points, if I am defined with an AB, so that means I'm not sure where exactly the shock will approach. So that means I'm going with this AB in the shock capture. So in that case, if my AB is being given as my input conditions, if A and B are given as my input condition, so that means I'm going with a shock capture method. So where the dotted line indicates that. So if you are going with the shock capture method, so that means initial values of the AB, only AB I know in my problem. So just with that I am approaching into the problem. With that we are approaching, or with that we are running the equations. So this will capture where exactly the shock waves are available on the body. Whereas in the fitting approach, I should know exactly where the shock is located. So that means these points of C, D, E and F should be initially known to me. Then only I can fix where exactly the shock wave will occur. If that location is known to me only, then I can go with a shock fitting approach. So that means in this case, I should know CD and EF. So in this case, I should know where is CD located and where is ED located. Then only I can go with an approach of this one. So shock fitting and the shock prediction approach. Previously, we have discussed about this one in the previous sessions. If you see, we have discussed about this shock fitting and the shock capturing methods, both we have seen in the previous one, right? So now approaching with that case, so whenever the shock wave comes, we said that we need to approach with that particular shock fitting and the shock capture methods. And if in this case, if your flow is entering at this point, and on this case, when you are going to when you are not sure about where exactly the shock wave occurs, so it will be fitting the shock wave approximately close to this zone. The shock wave will be close to this zone, right? So then we can predict that yes, there is an above shock wave formed on this particular body. Now the next question comes: what about the fitting approach if I'm going with? What about the shock fitting approach when I'm going with? So when you are going with the shock fitting approach, so in that case, when you are going with the shock fitting approach, in that case, my CD and EF should be defined in such a way that these 2 points should be defined in such a way that they should have been obeyed. These 2 points should obey the shock properties the shock properties and the location of the shock, and the location of the shock should be available with me, and these points should be valid on that region where it is been interacting, that E and F and D and E, these 2 points should be available and valid in that zone, and there is no pocket should be available in this zone. So the pocket should not be available in the zone where we are considering it as a shock wave is available. So in this approach, if there is any pockets available in that one, then the equation will turn simply, it will hit with an error, or it will turn simply with an elliptical equation. Then our solution may go wrong. Then our solution will become invalid in that case. So that is about the point where we are influencing on that body, particular body. That is exactly talking about its left running and the right running characteristics on that particular body, where the fluid is hitting on this point and reaching out onto the 2 directions. So that means initial point P is being influenced on this C and F, right? Whereas if I am not sure about where are the running characteristics, or where I am not sure about the shock wave, then approach with an AB. So this is what generally we do. So how do we approach in the fluid dynamics is, we'll give some domain like this, and initially we'll define with the velocity V infinity, and we'll ask that flow to move onto this particular body. And as we are increasing the angle of attack, at the low angle of attack, so when your angle of attack is very low, so there is no separation seen on the body, but when your angle of attack is increased, there is a separation still. But this case will be resulting in the unsteady flows. Whereas in the current case, we told that it is going for only medium angle of attacks. Whereas in the current case, we are going with only medium angle of attack, and there is a shock wave formed on this one. So when the shock wave forms on this particular body, so here we can see that the shock wave is attached onto the body at the same time. So here there is a shock generated on this one, and this shock need to be captured in this domain. So where is my AB is? So my AB is actually this line. So my AB is actually where I have given the inputs is on this line. So this is by the method of shock capture, right? So whereas in the case of shock fitting method, so that means initially I have to place the one location where the shock is available, then I have to say at this location the shock properties will, at this location the shock is going to occur, then you have to change the characteristic lines accordingly, then we have to apply the characteristics accordingly on that one, right? Okay, so this is what about the steady inviscid supersonic flow problem. This is about the steady inviscid supersonic problem, where even the elliptical cases are not being considered here in this one. So in order to avoid that elliptical equation, so what we have done is we have considered with an equation completely. We have considered with the body geometry and the shock wave to be completely attached to it. Okay, so that is what about supersonic inviscid steady